Alright, let's put this on YouTube, I guess. My name is Shonner, and yeah, I play role-playing games. I've been role-playing for, let's see, around 10 years when 5th edition came out. Took an interest, got into playing. Very few people ran games in my area, or like I didn't really know players, so I started running myself. And right now I play with like a local friend group, circle of friends together. But it has become increasingly frustrating. And as you do, you look on the internet for answers. And I was wooed and wowed by all the big names. And yeah, I just didn't feel like that their advice helped me much. Like some of it did, but it felt like I still had the same fundamental problems of my players are not really immersed much, or they get pulled out of the roleplay by asking questions about rules, about what they can do, about what they should do to the other players, stuff like that. And I saw myself slipping into that all the time as well. And I wasn't really sure if it's a problem or just, being social, chilling. But then, over a few corners, I found a Black Lodge's gaming video on role playing is not acting, where they made a strong case for to role play is to just pretend to be the actual person and just try to get in his head and do what he does. No fancy voices, no big speeches, just try to be that person. Do nothing fancy with it. Just role play. If he's scared, he runs away. If he's brave, take a risk. Don't think about hit points and strategy and basically the board game aspect of role playing games if you actually want to role play. And from that, I got into searching and I found MrMax's channel, which I really liked. It's called Reactionary Principle Gaming with MrMax Boywin. I hope I said it right. I will put a link to his channel in the descriptions. And heard about 4D role playing. There we go. What is 4D role playing? Gotta keep looking at the camera because I look shifty eyed if I look at the monitors. 4D role play, I find it a very interesting concept, and I hope that I understood it right. So I will say what I think it is, and hope I've done it justice. It's the idea that there are a few different dimensions to role playing. You can the first dimension is you meet up with your friends and you play your game. You make jokes, you talk about tactics, you have your beer and your chips. It's a social event. You're not really there to play the game, although the game is probably fun because somebody's telling you all the time what is happening, maybe with funny voices. But that is 1D. You're here, you're rolling dice, you're gaining XP, stuff like that. 2D role playing is you are aware of your character and your character wants to do stuff. So you ask the GM, how deep does this dungeon floor go? Can I see at the end if it's branching off? You ask questions basically out of character, a lot of them, to find answers inside the roleplay so that you can then act like, oh, is this door trapped? I checked the door for traps. I would call that 2D roleplay. You're trying to, if you play the thief, you want to check for the traps, stuff like that. Makes sense, but you're not immersed yet. This is where the 3D role-playing comes in. You're sticking to your character. I'm gingerly walking towards the door, looking shiftily. I want what's behind it. I know there's treasure, but I know there's dangers too, probably. It'd be a fool if there are actually no traps around anywhere. Let me check the floors. Let me walk up to the door, try the handle, see if there's a trap mechanism I can discern. And I take out my tools and fiddle around. That is 3D role-playing. Not that hard. Maybe with less words, like I thought of something that sounded a bit cool, creative, but you don't really need that. You just need to stay inside the character. That is the important part. I don't pull myself out, like in 2D role-playing, where I look at a god in the sky who is the game master and tells me the answers to the world, because I'm in the world. I don't need to do that. I can stay as a character in the world and ask questions. I'm sorry, that's the problematic part. Not ask the questions, but find the answers. I'm here. I want to find out something, so I go look for it. I go look for the answer. And with that, we come to the 4D role-playing, which is we are adding a level of creative freedom to the players. We are playing a game together, a role-playing game, whatever system it happens to be. Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, Traveler, Call of Cthulhu. I feel like what I've played is still quite limited. I played a few different games. We can come to that later. And some games definitely work better than others. The 4D role-playing would be you add a layer of now your players add things, objects, people, factions into the game. I check the trapdoor for traps, and what would be a good example? And I notice there is a gap underneath the door. So I take out the mirror from my rucksack, slide it under, see if I can find a mechanism like a pulled string on the other side of the doorway. That's a creative way to 4D roleplay. Let's say you have a rucksack and you have items in it, but it has not been defined if you have a mirror or not. Why not? You can add a mirror. Does it make sense that your burglar has a tool to help find traps that was not previously described? As long as it doesn't contradict what has already been established with the group of players at the table, go ahead. Take the freedom. Don't feel constrained. Another example that I've got from MrMax is you're at a beach. 1D player says, the 1D player is just trying to scavenge something. You know, I'm at the beach. Let me know if you need anything. I guess I need to find a stick. So, is there a stick anywhere? I don't know. Make a survival roll. You roll high, you get a stick. You don't roll high, you have your head stuck up your ass. I don't know. Something stupid. Doesn't really matter. Nobody cares about stick. Does the stick give experience points? That's 1D play. 2D play is GM is there a stick on this beach? Well, you know, you look around and you see a stick. The GM is telling you, okay, I guess you look around, which would be a no-no in 4D play. The 3D play is I walk on the beach and think to myself, I should gather some sticks for the campfire this evening, or it will get cold tonight. So I look around and collect any driftwood I come across. Ah, here's a good piece. And you put it in your burlap sack and head back to the camp. There might still be roles involved if the DM thinks that, you know what, you're at a beach, but also in a desert. So maybe there's very few plants growing, and finding driftwood is a crucial point. In which case, yeah, sure, roll. But, you don't, if it's just to create a campfire and keep warm for the night, that's not very dramatic, that's not very impactful in the game itself. So why stop and roll for dice and ask the GM if there's a stick or not? Does it really matter? Does it add to the tension? Probably not. So we can speed up the scene. You can have the creative freedom. That is 4D role playing. You give away some of the control as a game master and hand it over to the players, and now you don't know what happens at the next gaming session. Now, it should hopefully free up to create a cool fucking story together. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be cool and fun. And at least I believe so. At least I hope so. Maybe other people have different goals, but that's my goal. That's what I want. Cool, fun stories and some creative freedom. So, yeah, what are my experiences with RPGs? I've played for a while now. It's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I'd say. And because it's a German group circle, I also have some DSR, the Dark Eye experience, das schwarze Auge, famous German role-playing game. Also Shadowrun, some Pathfinder, not much, but enough to know that the rules bloat is real, and I don't really enjoy that the rules aspect of it. And I've had some experiences with different systems, some Burning Wheel, too, and a bit of Players of the Apocalypse. Had like a session of Dungeon World, and other games, a bit of Star Trek. Probably like over 10 different role playing games, but a lot of them do not help much with 4D levels of game because they prescribe a lot of them that the dungeon master creates the whole world. Here is a world, here's a setting, you know all the rules, and you better know all the rules because you players won't, and there will be a lot of time spending on what do I roll, can I see this, is there a drone, do I find sensors, how many monsters are in front of me. Like, best case scenario, the game master answered those questions when you walked over there and saw what you saw, and then you can react as your character. You just play pretend you're actually there, and you're in this dungeon for a reason, so you're trying to fulfill that reason. We walked into the dungeon because a group of a noble woman and her group of adventure friends went missing in the Sunless Citadel. So we have to go down there and find out what happened. And we walk into fucking giant rats and skeletons. So what do? I'm not stopping to count how many skeletons are rising from the darkness in the corners. I better run up to the first one and bash its head in with my mace. Roll dice to hit, roll damage if you do damage, and keep that stuff short and succinct. And and for the role play, will allow for that. Well, you get that with 3D roleplay already, and with 4D roleplay, the players can create more elements into the scene that you did not suspect, but bring more flavor into the world. Yeah. What? I wrote down some notes, so it's not just rambling. Let's see. Oh fuck! It's 15 minutes already. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's keep it. Let's not keep you guys on the leash too long. What are like some good 3D moments I've had in my games? I'd say some real fun moments I had with my players is they were walking from city to city. It's a good 3 weeks trek, basically. A long road, trace road, and the players got really into character, talking to each other, and they had a political argument, basically, like what are they really doing? And the elf started talking about how she is from a crashed spaceship who had a dragon enslaved on it, and that they're serving the dragon. And all the other characters were completely bewildered because it just sounded out of this world, literally. And which led to a big conversation, like what is actually the deal with their elf, with their elf wizard. And during that time, I've had as part of the preparation. At some point, I wanted to for combat to happen, so that the whole journey isn't just we walk over there. But during that time, I've had one player, the one with the highest perception check. I've asked them during the discussion, roll a perception check. They rolled a 1, so I let them go on. I just threw it in. I didn't let it interrupt the flow. And in my head, I moved the threat closer because they don't notice it. I let them roll again. They fail again. Now this one is really important because it changes where the battle starts. And then I've set up, and the barbarians jump out of the bushes. Some of them dressed up like bushes itself. Sticks and mud everywhere. And combat ensues. They attack them. And it was a really, really fun 3D moment to play out. I thought it's like my favorite moment. Now, the problem with D&D, now combat happens. So we have to stop and roll initiative, which slows down the game. Now we are talking on the 2D level. Okay, me saying everybody roll initiative, me taking notes, me having to ask, okay, initiative order 25 to 20, 20 to 15, something to try and write down the numbers real quick. And you know the deal. Anybody who played D&D, you know how much time this can waste and take. And the combat was fine, but yeah, that interaction between the players where I just let them riff off each other and was really great 3D immersion. Like sometimes this can be just chatter, like oh yeah, the players are chatting, but they're chatting on the road while getting somewhere, and I'm using their chatting to see if they can be ambushed during that time or not. Like if they can't be ambushed, maybe there was I didn't think that, oh, this is a famous traveling road. There should be no danger because it has patrols sometimes. So I just let them finish their chatter, and then we skip 3 weeks and they arrive at the town because nothing interesting is happening here. So let's move to the next scene where something interesting happens. What are mistakes I'd like to improve? Yes, I definitely. This is why I put this here on YouTube. What is my mission statement? I'd like to. I'd like to have at least 3D levels of roleplay. If I can have a 3D role playing for a whole session, as a player and hopefully as a game master, I will already be very, very happy with myself. Now the 4D role playing, that's I'm still a bit scared of that, but I'm open to it. I think I'm mostly scared because I don't think I can convince my players for all of them to commit to it. I believe I can convince some of them, but the whole group, chances are slim. But yeah, I can either keep playing with them in a 2D way and hope to make it more 3D, or reduce the playtime to as a socializing activity and find 4D games online. I think both of those things are possible, and we'll see how it goes. So my mistakes. 1D comments to cover for nervousness. Yes, I think this is one personal take that I want to improve on. I feel like I'm a nervous person in general, which also includes my games. So if I sit at the table, especially with new players, but it also happens with with friends I already know, then I jump to 1D. I jump to jokes. I riff. I throw a joke in. But this interrupts the roleplay, like obviously interrupts the roleplay, and slows down the scene, slows down what we get done in the session. Sometimes I correct rules. I've already been working on keeping that brief, and if it's like really needed, sometimes I can help myself. So this is also a thing I want to improve on. I think I'm already doing a better job than more previous, because if I'm a player and they play a rule system I understand very well, I keep it very short if it's important. If the player is already asking the DM, I answer the question for him sometimes so that the DM can keep the role playing up with the other player. Especially in in-person games, this helps a bit with the flow of the game, but it's still bad for 4D role playing because now the player who had a question should have paid attention to the game, and I should have paid attention to the game too. What is actually happening in the scene? So this is why I see this as a problem that I want to work on. Yeah, checking rules in game. I've talked about that. I had an example about this too. We played some Starfinder, a new system that me and my friends have been trying out. And because we are like session 3 or 4, I didn't read all the whole rulebook. So I have a lot of holes on the setting and on the class. And we had combat. And when it's not my turn, I looked in the rulebook at what can my class do, what are the different battle maneuvers, and like what could I do when it's my turn again. I thought I was being clever by not wasting time and looking it up in between, but actually I ended up wasting more time doing that, because when it's my turn, I had to look up from my phone, from the rulebook that I had as a PDF, and ask, oh, how many enemies are alive in front of me? I jumped through the 2D point of gaming, ask the game master what my character sees. Because if I paid attention, I would see it. So I want to get better with that. If I accept to a game, let's play a game, okay. We're playing Starfinder this Friday, okay. That's in 2 days. I can double check the rules, like did something change for my class and for my character, to my items, and do I want to use more complicated rules or just leave them out until they happen? And at this point, just be ready for the basics, so that I can pay attention to what's happening in the scene and interact with it. Especially during combat, because combat drags down time so fast. You have to be on the ball to keep the ball rolling. And the fourth point is drawn out games and tourism play. especially when I've been dungeon mastering. Uh, the last few sessions, I felt very much. I felt like I've been doing it wrong. I've accepted open world campaign for my players. We started out with doing some dungeons, and now I've opened up the world for them to explore. But there is nothing happening in the world. At least that's what it feels like to me. And I think that's what it feels like to them too, because I don't have a big bad evil guy prepared in the pocket or some big factions that are moving stuff right now. There can still be stuff moving, of course, but none of that has made it to the screen for my players. And I think this is a big failure from my point as a game master that I let that happen. And it basically led to drawn out game sessions where, they traveled, they met NPCs, they talked, and they had some fights, but they have little meaning because there's no big tension. The tension is missing because there's peace times. So I want to definitely fix that with 3D, 4D play. But this is also something that I need to fix with the preparation as a game master. And I feel like I am horrible at preparing. I really struggled with it. 4D, I don't know if that will solve that. But if players come up with enemies, nemesises, and friends that want stuff, that need stuff, that are on a timer or they cannot take forever, and you can only pay attention to so many things. But right now, my players don't need to pay much attention. They're just free to do what they want. So, but because I know they would like to continue playing and I want to be able to give them something to play that I can also improve on that end of gaming. All right, that's everything. I see we are 27 minutes and a half. Is there anything else to mention? Yes. Yeah, through MrMax, I've seen the games of 28 millimeters RPG, I believe. That's what's it called. I'm not sure. And there's also Shonner, and Shonner has written a book on how to roleplay. How to Roleplay the Hard Way is what's it called, by Shonner Press, which can be downloaded online on Drive-Thru RPG. I will put a link to that in the description too. So I'm hoping to read the book and understand his points. As far as I stand, he is the one doing the big push for just role playing, and that role playing and board gaming are two different things. And this is where opinions differ. But he's saying this is how you role play the hard way. This is what role playing means, and I hope to check it out and learn from it. If it's good, if it's bad, I don't know. But I'm very, very intrigued and I want to improve as a game master. I want to have more fun at the table. And I mean fun, like you have fun with everything. If you do it with friends, it cannot be fun. That's not possible. Unless your friends really suck. So I want to improve the drama, I want to improve the tension. I want to create stories where players will be in 10 years like, oh yeah, do you remember this awesome thing you did because when we were in trouble? Yes, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. That's what I want to do. That'd be awesome. And 4D, creating the world together and having a social contract. That all sounds like a really, really good time. So let's find out. Let's try it out. Let's give it a shot. And yeah. So, gonna leave a link to MrMax, gonna leave a link to Shonner, and that be all. Let's see how this goes. Alright. Any questions, comments, I don't know. You can click like. Sure, fine. See ya.